So you already know the story. A 19-year-old gets 35 years for stabbing a 17-year-old to death at a track meet. The judge says no new trial, and somehow the biggest reaction isn't the family who lost their son. It's the people online still trying to make the killer the victim. So you're about to see the exact moment the excuses start breaking down. First up, we have pure online culture.
The Metcalfs are a giant family of fucking idiots, and every single person that supported them is another one. Now that the character statements about the Metcalfs have come out, how do we feel? How do we feel? It turns out Austin was beating women as late into his life as 2024. He was picking on minorities up until his last breath. He was really doing what he loved, bro. I'm just glad that he died doing what he loved. He died for the love of the game. A lot of you niggas should do the same.
Wow. Thanking Karmelo Anthony while rocking a satin bonnet in the middle of the day. I mean, that's not support, man. That's performance. Now, you know, I get my little turban and stuff like that, but when the argument is weak, the costume gets louder. That's the real metaphor I'm trying to paint here. You know, a young man is dead, and this is the energy some people choose. Now, I want you to watch what happens when denial actually hits the timeline.
Wow, 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 wow. This racist, they just denied Carmelo Anthony's trial.
This is a sad situation because Carmelo Anthony did not have proper representation the first time.
Everybody was thinking that Carmelo was going to get a new trial, but he got denied. And so right now, the 35 years still stand.
The new judge in the Carmelo Anthony case has denied his appeal for a new trial, even knowing that the jury was not reflective of anyone that looked like Carmelo Anthony. Even after knowing that the gentleman's agreement that essentially didn't allow evidence that was important in the trial of Austin Metcalf being absolutely blatantly racist.
Some social media users are taking to social media and they're calling the new judge, Judge Chitty, they're calling him a racist now, you know what I mean?
So Carmelo Anthony has been denied a new trial. Young America was fucked up.
I mean, look at the faces. No grief for the victim, just disappointment that the system didn't bend. That's the part they never want to admit out loud, right? When the jury and the judge both say no, the reaction is injustice was served. It's we took another L up here. And, you know, that right there tells you everything. I'm trying to turn this light down. That tells you everything about the starting point of the conversation. Now, this next one turns the volume all the way up. I mean, be ready.
So Carmelo Anthony was denied a new trial. For all y'all who are prematurely celebrating, this was just the first step in his appeal process. They knew it was a long shot. We knew it was a long shot. We were hoping that he could get a new trial. But I mean, this is just the first step in an appeal process, right? So we're still hopeful. Don't get on here trying to argue with me and be like, oh, I told you so, because I'm not going to respond to any of you racists, right? I'm actually going to take a break from posting videos for about a week, just so I can process this and it can clear my mind. But yeah, this is just the first step. So all those who are on Carmelo's side, this is just the first step, okay? Don't get discouraged, right? This is what happens in these situations, okay? Hey, it is what it is, right? We knew this. It was another white judge. So, I mean, it was a long shot, right? So, yeah. So, to all you racist bitches who are out there celebrating like y'all just won the fucking Super Bowl, suck my dick.
Wow. Sitting in the car talking crazy to the camera like the denial was a personal attack. You know, the moment the court doesn't give them what they wanted, suddenly everybody who disagrees is the problem, and that's not principle. If anything, that's ownership. They treated the case like it belonged to them. And now the temperature changes.
Oh my God. I'm getting real sick and tired of these racist black people. And yes, black people can be racist too, okay? All of these free Carmelo Anthony supporters are straight up racist. Yes, they ain't nothing but a bunch of freaking racists. And now they want to act surprised that a judge denied a retrial. He killed somebody in cold blood. What don't y'all understand about that? Y'all think it's okay that he killed somebody because the boy was white. Y'all believe because he killed a white boy, he should be free. Do you not know how racist that is? Somebody lost their freaking son, their brother, their grandson, their cousin. A young man was murdered in cold blood. And y'all want to be mad because a young black man went to jail for killing a white boy, and y'all claim and we think it's racist. No, he was not. Carmelo Anthony was not convicted for racism. He was convicted because his dumbass decided to bring a damn knife to school and stab somebody. Carmelo Anthony was convicted because he killed somebody in cold blood. Because he's a murderer. Ain't got shit to do with racism. Not a damn thing to do with the color of his skin. It got everything to do with him stabbing somebody who he shouldn't have stabbed in the first damn place. Now I'm sick of y'all acting a fool over this. And don't tell me I gotta stand with Carmelo because I'm black. I ain't standing with no damn convicted killer. Y'all got to be, y'all got to be more serious than this. Don't make no sense at all. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all the hate. I am sick of all the division. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Austin was murdered. He should be here today, but he's not because of Carmelo Anthony. And so Carmelo Anthony should stay in prison as long as Austin is dead. And guess what? Austin gonna be dead forever. He can't come back. So Carmelo Anthony should be locked up forever. Point blank, period. End of discussion.
Okay, so this is the difference. A black man looking dead into the camera saying he does not owe loyalty to a killer just because he's black. He called the race defense what it is, and the people who usually scream about racism suddenly had nothing to say, I'm sure, because once you remove the skin color shield, you know, all that's left is a young man who's brought a knife to a track meet and used it. And somehow, man, it still gets more ridiculous.
And since ain't nobody gonna say it, I'ma say it for them. The other son need to get charged. Hunter, his ass need to get charged. Absolutely right. Him and anyone else that was involved with that altercation, okay, that caused the decease of Austin, okay, even though Carmelo did the action in self-defense, it's because they started that. So they should be charged as well, okay? They should be charged as well. Because if it was the other way around, they would be charged. Just saying, since nobody want to say it, I'm going to say it. Because mum's the word on the Metcalf right now. Because they know that boy need to get charged.
Now they want the twin brother charged. The one who didn't stab anybody. That's how you know the original argument collapsed. They're not chasing justice anymore. They're chasing a different outcome. Crazy, man. All right, this is the last one. This part should end the conversation.
You can appeal this through the Texas courts, and ultimately, if you notice, the gripes, for lack of a better term, that they put in their petition, they're constitutional. What does that mean? That means this whole thing at some point is going to end up in federal court. It'll take a while, but I think that that's going to be the end game. This will be ongoing. That is my prediction for a while, but I do think the conviction will hold up.
How damaging, in your view, were the messages from Karmelo Anthony's own phone regarding his temper?
Well, they certainly didn't help, and I think that it goes to this issue of him taking this stand, because they didn't want that particular material to emerge. And even if you accept the idea that this gentleman's agreement was also done to protect the deceased, that they didn't want him dragged through the mud because he is the victim here undeniably, there's absolutely no comparison between maybe some social media posts that Metcalf had done and the fact that prior to stabbing, you can appeal this through the Texas courts.
So boom.
And
man, I got to get my camera fixed. This looks horrible. Anywho, text messages where he talked about stabbing someone and licking the blood off the blade. We know that. The evidence was kept out of the first trial by argument. Now it's public. And the people still act like this was just two kids who got into a regular fight. One of them was already writing the ending in his phone. I'm just saying, man, a 17-year-old bled out on a rainy track because another teenager decided a knife was the answer. The jury, they heard the evidence. The judge looked at the motion for a new trial and said no. And instead of sitting with that reality, a whole corner of the internet treated the denial like a personal loss. That's the part that should make you pause. You know, when death of a kid becomes secondary to protecting a narrative, something is broken. Race is being used as a free pass in places it was never meant to go. And the people who claim to care most about justice are often the first ones willing to bend it when the defendant matches their preferred category. This young man is in prison for 35 years because he chose to pull out a knife. Another young man is in the ground. Everything else is just noise. So, if this made you, sit up a little straighter, I want you to comment the word balance in the comments. And I want to leave you with, because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, the heart of the children of man is fully set to do evil. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Please be safe. Go check with somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.